3 years ago, I was talking to this guy in New York. We sat in his garden and we were just chatting, nothing really special, until the moment when he told about his son and about his Japanese wife, who were in Japan that moment, visiting his wife's parents. And me being in New York and my family, my son, my wife, and my 2 daughters being in Armenia, I could understand him and I could understand his emotions. So starting from that moment, we put aside our differences and we started talking on friendly terms. But the guy was Chinese, and, well, I'm Armenian living in Russia, and to understand each other, obviously, you have a common language. It just so happened that English is spoken all around the world, and there are about 2 billion people speaking English as a native language, as a second language, as a foreign language. And foreign language, isn't it really a strange word to call a language a foreign language? Because listen, it's like you go to doctor and you say, doctor, I have something foreign in my hand, I need it to get taken out, or you drink some milk and you say, there are some foreign particles in there, or you tell something to your friend and he or she does not understand you and say, okay, it's just a foreign concept to you. It's a very foreign word to call a language a foreign language. So, actually, we call a language foreign as opposed to our native language. And what does it really mean, a native language? Native language is something that goes with your culture, the language that usually you've been speaking from your early childhood. But nowadays, people are mixing. We have a lot of international marriages, and we do not live, in our separate villages anymore. We travel, we have planes, we have trains, we can travel long distances, and also we have all this mass media, internet and YouTube and social media and stuff like that. So now, about a native or foreign language. I mean, is Russian a native language for me or not? You can have your own opinion, guys. But I think that Russian is my native language. And also, I think that English is my native language because it's been more than 5 years that I've been speaking English to my own kids in my family, and now my children speak 3 languages at home, which is a funny thing. How's that? An Armenian guy living in Russia speaks English in his family. I mean, but things like that happen. Actually, about 70 to 80% of population nowadays, people living in the world, they are not monolingual, they are bilingual at least, or they speak a language and a dialect of a language. So, what is the language all about? It is about your culture, it's about your customs, it's about your beliefs, and we as human beings, we try to connect to people, but also we try to separate ourselves. We want to draw a circle around us so that we distinguish ourselves as a community, as a language group, but we do not live in villages and in small towns anymore. Awful things are happening. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Planes crash, and people die, and they die because of the differences, because people cannot really understand each other. And how can you understand somebody if you do not share a common language? There is a strong resistance actually to learning English these days. I know it because usually they say, well, English and the ideas that come with English do not belong to my native culture. They are foreign to me, so I'm not going to use them. So I have two notebooks here. I know in TED you do not get out of the stage, but I forgot them. What can I do? So anyway, I have two notebooks here. Anybody who gets onto the stage the first has a chance to choose one of them. And listen, ideas are like notebooks. They are like something you can share with people. Yeah, hello lady. So I have two notebooks. One is blank inside, but it's from St. Petersburg Museum. And another one is with some quotes from business people from all around the world. Which one would you like to choose? This one. Okay, thank you. Would you please take your seat? And ideas like notebooks, but they are much better. So I gave that notebook away, and now I do not have it. But when you share ideas, you share something, then other people have it, and then they have the chance of sharing it. And what is important about ideas also, if you do not like it, you can dump it, just don't use it. So, not learning a language because some foreign and strange ideas come through it is a really foreign concept to me, and it's really strange to me. So you can pick the ideas you like, you can bring it into your culture, and you can use it if you like. And the homogeneity of culture, I think, is overestimated and overgeneralized, actually. I believe that we, as human beings, have our own separate bits of culture in us. We have own cultures, we have social groups cultures, we have family cultures, and we differ a lot actually, but we have some core values. And core values are what distinguish us as human beings. We do not throw away with kids anyway, as people in Sparta would do we? So I mean, even cultures within a national group, within a language group, they change. And if you want to wait until somebody brings something from outside and serves you, and if you want to have no choice but to embrace what is brought by somebody, well, it's your choice, and I respect that choice. You can do nothing. But if you are a kind of a person who wants to influence, not only to be influenced, you can choose to bring some cultural items, first to you as to human being, and then you can share it with a friend of yours, and then a friend can share it with a friend, and maybe someday that cultural item becomes something important within your language group, or within your family, or within your friend circle. Why not? And what people do, usually, they agree or they don't agree, so they disagree. But as they say, you can agree or you can agree to disagree. But even to agree to disagree, you have to have a common language. How can you disagree with somebody if you do not have a common language? And this is, for the first time in the whole history of human being, that we have a chance to understand each other. Doesn't matter how it happened. 2 billion people speak English all around the world. Out of 7 billion people, English language is the most commonly spoken English language in the world. And so, why do not we embrace it? Why do we push it aside, saying that it's not ours? If it's not ours, then whose language is that? Do you mean that English language belongs to British people, or English people, or American people, or Australian people? Not true. Native people belongs to you, gentlemen, if you want to take it, and to you, lady, if you speak it. No problem at all. Once somebody in London told me, well, you speak English pretty well, and I said, you too. And he said, I'm a native speaker. I said, I'm a native speaker as well. And he said, hey, listen, but you have an accent. And I said, you have an accent too. And he said, but my accent, I said, listen, your accent is estuary English accent, spoken by about 15% of the population. And if you start telling me about received pronunciation, it is spoken by 2% of the population. So what do you really mean? And he said, this language is the official language of my country. And I said, I'm from Russia, so if tomorrow Russian government admits English as the official language of the country, does it mean that all Russian people living in Russia, even given the fact that many of them do not speak English, become automatically native speakers of English? And he was like, oh, okay, I have to dash off. So, listen, English is our language because they transferred the language to different parts of the world. And what is happening right now, let's say in South African English language, they have about 10,000 words that belong only to South African English. And we, in our Russian English language, have some words that belong to our culture. Our Russian English language, like pilmeni. Why do you try to translate it to English? When they come here, they have to learn some more words. Hello, guys. So, matryoshka, pilmeni, and cosmos actually is an English word right now. So you can insert the words, also razhinka, right? So, stuff like that. Anyway, languages, cultures, people, everything is getting global. People travel, people talk to each other, people share their ideas, and we, once again, have a chance for the first time in human history to really understand each other, because we have 7,000 languages to understand each other. Doesn't it really sound like a bit of oxymoron to you? Think about it, 7,000 languages to understand each other. How do you understand each other having 7,000 languages? Well, actually you can, if you share a common language. And the best candidate here is English. Not Chinese. I love Chinese language. I have a Chinese friend, Isaac in New York. Hello, Isaac. But Chinese is not showing any sign of becoming a global language, because 400 million Chinese people are learning English right now. Spanish, also a very beautiful language, but it is mostly spoken by native speakers of Spanish. Also not a global language, but a beautiful one. I like it. 3 years ago, when I went to Armenia to take my family back, and my family goes to Armenia every summer to visit my wife's family and to stay there for some time. And my son had asked a lot of times, Mommy, when daddy is coming, and my wife would say, soon, 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 and he would, come up to her and ask the same question for a lot of times. Then there was a moment when he ceased doing it. He stopped asking the question. And when he saw me in the airport, he ran to me, he hugged me, and he said, Daddy, I thought you'd never come back, and it brought tears to my eyes. Do you remember the cartoon about Nemo? There, son, that is going to be with you all the time. But listen, there are a lot of kids who are never going to meet their daddies and mommies anymore. And we have the opportunity to stop it. Because all the kids, all around the world, they are the same. They don't want to fight when they are kids. They don't want to be terrorists. They don't want to kill people. They want to play and they want to be around their mommies and daddies, and we have the chance of doing it. And we shouldn't miss that chance. So please, let's make it possible. Love and peace, and thank you.